Why does nothing seem to change, no matter how hard you try? You shift jobs, relationships, cities, even dreams, and yet the same patterns keep circling back, like a shadow that follows you no matter where you run. What if the reason is simple, but hidden in plain sight? As above, so below. As within, so without. The Kybalion. Reality is not an independent stage where life plays out. It is a mirror, reflecting your inner state with unflinching accuracy. The world outside bends itself to match what lives inside. Your beliefs, your wounds, your subconscious expectations. Until the image within changes, the reflection remains the same. But here lies the secret few understand. This law is not a metaphor. It is the architecture of existence. Mystics knew it, psychologists prove it, and science is beginning to catch up. In this video, we will decode the mirror principle, why it traps most people in endless loops, and how you can use it to break free. And at the end, I'll reveal the hidden key that turns this reflection into your greatest power. Miss that, and you'll remain stuck in the same picture frame forever. Reality does not invent itself independently of you. It is not a stage where random scripts unfold. It is a mirror, reflecting the state of your inner world. Every thought, every emotion, every belief becomes the invisible ink that sketches the patterns you encounter outside. Change the ink, and the story changes. Keep it the same, and the reflection never shifts. The Hermetic Masters spoke of this as an eternal law. In their teachings, the universe was described as a great correspondence, where the hidden and the visible were bound together by resonance. The stars above were not separate from the soul within. Both moved in harmony, each echoing the other's song. Even in Eastern traditions, the same law emerges. The Buddha taught that the mind shapes reality, while mystics across cultures repeated the same refrain. The world is a reflection, a projection, a shadow of the unseen. This was not poetry for them. It was survival. To master the self was to master the mirror. Modern science now circles back to the same truth. Neuroscience reveals that perception is not objective. It is filtered, colored, and edited by the brain according to what we already believe. Two people can walk the same street, yet live in entirely different worlds, because each sees only the mirror of their own mind. And so, the first revelation is this: reality is not happening to you, it is happening through you. Which means the question is not, why won't the world change? But, what inside me is being reflected right now? Most people believe they are creating reality with their conscious desires, the goals they write, the affirmations they repeat, the dreams they chase. But the mirror of reality does not respond to words alone. It bends itself around the deeper vibrations. The fears you bury, the wounds you never acknowledged, the stories replaying in the silent chambers of your unconscious. This is why the same patterns repeat even when you try to escape them. A person who feels unworthy inside will unconsciously gravitate toward partners who echo that wound. Partners who neglect, betray, or abandon, as if reading a script written by hidden hands. Someone who secretly fears abundance will find subtle ways to sabotage success, missing the opportunity, procrastinating, or feeling inexplicably guilty when prosperity knocks. What lives beneath awareness is not hidden from reality. It is amplified by it, projected outward until it cannot be ignored. The mirror is merciless, but never malicious. It only magnifies what is already alive within. Psychology calls this projection. The mind externalizes what it cannot accept within. But long before Freud gave it a name, shamans warned that unhealed wounds summon spirits wearing the masks of strangers, forcing you to meet your own shadow in human form. Mystics across ages echoed the same warning. The shadows you ignore become the gods that rule you. The mirror does not lie. It will keep sending you the same face, the same challenge, the same wound dressed in new clothing, until you finally turn inward and face it. Neuroscience provides its own reflection. The The subconscious processes information nearly 1,000,000 times faster than the conscious mind, deciding what you notice, what you ignore, and how you interpret every moment. It acts as the silent editor of reality, filtering the flood of sensory data through the lens of your deepest beliefs. This means you are not seeing the world as it is. You are seeing the world as you are. Two people can witness the same event. One sees betrayal, the other sees liberation. The difference is not the event, it is the filter. And until the unconscious shifts, the mirror remains frozen, replaying the same reality again and again. So the deeper question becomes, what unseen patterns are shaping the reflection you call reality? Most people spend their lives polishing the mirror, thinking that by altering the reflection, they can alter themselves. They change jobs, switch partners, redecorate houses, move to new cities. For a moment, it feels different, until the same cycles return, the same lessons resurface in a new disguise. Why? Because the reflection cannot lead the image. The external cannot precede the internal. It is like rearranging the scenery in a theater while ignoring the script. The actors may wear new costumes, the backdrop may shift, but if the story remains the same, the play always ends the same way. Until the script is rewritten, no cosmetic change can alter the outcome. This is why brute force rarely works. You can grind, hustle, and fight the outer world into temporary submission, but the mirror always reverts to what is inside. The unhealed wound, the silent fear, the unresolved belief, these are stronger than effort. They bend every outcome back into alignment with themselves, no matter how hard you push. Spiritual traditions have long warned against this trap. The Hermetists taught, he who would change the reflection must first change the image. Modern psychology echoes it too. Changing environments without changing patterns simply reproduces the same results in new settings. You can change the place, the people, the circumstances, but wherever you go, there you are. So the great illusion is this: you cannot fix reality from the outside in. The mirror will not lie for you. Until the self transforms, nothing else can. And that realization, while humbling, is also liberating. For it means the power has always been within your reach. The mirror of reality is always speaking, but few know how to read its language. The signs appear in repetition. The same conflicts resurface with different faces. The same disappointments return in new disguises. Relationships end for the same reasons. Opportunities slip through in familiar ways. Cycles repeat until they no longer look like coincidence but inevitability. This is not fate. It is feedback. Think of life as a hall of mirrors. You may walk forward, but the reflections keep multiplying, surrounding you with the same image until you finally stop to look closer. These loops are not traps meant to punish you. They are signals designed to awaken you. Every repetition is the universe asking, can you see yourself in this yet? In relationships, this reflection is most vivid. The partner who abandons you, the friend who betrays, the boss who undervalues. Different characters, same story. They are mirrors, forcing you to meet the parts of yourself you have not yet healed. Until the lesson is absorbed within, the cycle continues without. Science mirrors the same truth. Cognitive psychology shows that people unconsciously recreate familiar scenarios because the brain finds comfort in the known, even when the known is painful. What feels like destiny is often the nervous system replaying its oldest scripts. The mirror of life keeps repeating until a new pattern is written inside. So the key is not to ask, why does this keep happening to me? But rather, what part of me is being reflected here? The answer to that question is the crack in the mirror where light begins to shine through. For thousands of years, mystics whispered the same secret. The outer world reflects the inner. The Hermeticists carved it into stone. The Buddhists taught it in meditation halls. The Kabbalists encoded it into sacred geometry. In every culture, the message was consistent: master the self, and the world will mirror that mastery back to you. Ignore the self, and the mirror becomes a prison. The Buddha said, "With our thoughts we make the world." The sages of India called the material plane Maya, an illusion projected by consciousness. Even the Gnostics described reality as a shadow cast by the divine mind. Across time, across continents, wisdom traditions agreed. What you see out there is nothing but a projection of what exists in here. Today, neuroscience and psychology are rediscovering what the ancients knew. Cognitive science shows that the brain processes reality through pre-existing beliefs, filtering billions of data points per second into a story that matches your inner model. In other words, the world you perceive is not objective. It is edited, personalized, and reflected through your mind. Modern experiments even reveal how expectation shapes perception. Placebos heal bodies because the mind expects healing. Optical illusions trick the brain into seeing what is not there because it assumes a pattern. Quantum physics pushes the insight further. The act of observation itself influences reality at the smallest scales. Science, though cautious with its language, is beginning to echo the mystics. The observer and the observed are inseparable. So when spiritual teachers say life is a mirror, it is not poetry, it is a law visible in scripture and in the lab, in meditation and in the microscope. And once you see it, the illusion that the world is separate from you begins to crumble. If reality is a mirror, then self-observation is the act of finally looking into it with open eyes. Most people rush through life reacting to the reflection, never pausing to ask, what part of me is being shown back right now? But the moment you turn your gaze inward, everything shifts. Awareness interrupts the cycle. The mystics made self-observation a sacred practice. The Stoics called it self-inquiry. The Buddhists built entire traditions around mindfulness, watching thoughts arise and pass like clouds. Hermetic teachers instructed initiates to know thyself, not as philosophy, but as the first step toward changing reality itself. For if you are blind to the image, how can you ever expect the reflection to transform? Modern science agrees. Neuroscience shows that awareness alone begins to rewire the brain. When you catch yourself in the act of repeating an old pattern, neurons fire differently. Over time, that simple act of observation weakens the old circuits and strengthens new ones. Awareness is not passive. It is the lever that starts reshaping the mirror. This is why presence matters. When you witness your own emotions without judgment, you reclaim the power to choose instead of react. The mirror softens. The same situation that once triggered anger or despair becomes an opportunity for clarity. The reflection begins to shift, not because the world has changed, but because the observer has. And so, the secret is simple. Before you can transform your life, you must be willing to look directly at yourself. Self-observation is the doorway. Once you step through, the reflection cannot remain the same. Once you see the mirror for what it is, the question becomes, how do I change the image it reflects? The answer is deceptively simple, by transforming the inside. Every shift in your inner state creates ripples that alter the reflection outside. Small changes within become seismic movements in the world around you. Mystics taught this through ritual and meditation. They understood that prayer, mantra, and intention were not attempts to control the outer world, but tools to realign the inner one. When the heart softened, the world softened. When clarity rose within, confusion dissolved without. What began as inner alchemy unfolded as outer transformation. Modern science offers its own language for the same process. Neuroplasticity shows that by forming new habits and beliefs, the brain rewires itself, which in turn alters perception and behavior. What you once overlooked suddenly becomes visible. What seemed impossible begins to feel natural. As the inner script changes, the stage of your life rearranges to match. The practices can be as simple as consistent meditation, rewriting limiting beliefs, or even the decision to embody gratitude in daily life. These may feel small, but they are levers. And when levers move from within, the mirror has no choice but to follow. The reality that once seemed stubborn begins to soften, bend, and eventually transform into something new. So transformation does not begin out there. It begins here, in the quiet spaces of thought, feeling, and choice. Change the seed, and the garden will bloom differently. Change the image, and the mirror cannot resist. Every time you shift within, the mirror shifts without. But the process does not end there. It spirals. One small transformation opens the door to larger ones. A healed wound leads to healthier relationships. A single new belief generates unexpected opportunities. The reflection changes, and in seeing it, your confidence grows, which then fuels even deeper inner change. This is the cycle of expansion. The mirror is not static, but alive. It evolves as you do, echoing each new vibration back to you in amplified form. At first, the changes may appear subtle, gentler interactions, lighter moods, small synchronicities. But over time, the external world begins to look radically different, not because it forced you to adapt, but because you reshape the lens through which you see it. Mystics describe this as an ascending spiral, where each turn lifts you higher, closer to alignment with your highest self. Science echoes it in the feedback loops of psychology. The more you notice positive results, the more your brain strengthens those new pathways, making transformation easier with every step. The loop becomes momentum. Eventually, you no longer live at the mercy of the mirror. You live as its conscious creator. Reality ceases to be a prison repeating old stories, and becomes a canvas reflecting your evolution in real time. Every new layer of awareness writes a new script. Every script births a new reflection. The cycle of expansion never ends. It only carries you deeper into the infinite. Reality never lies. It does not flatter. It does not condemn. It only reflects. Every struggle, every repetition, every unexpected blessing has been the echo of your own inner state. The mirror does not create, it reveals. And what it reveals is the truth of who you are in this moment. But this truth is not a prison. It is an invitation. For if the world outside is only a reflection, then every shift within you is a key. Change the story you tell yourself, and the world begins to tell it back to you. Heal the wound within, and the mirror stops showing you pain. Ignite a new belief, and opportunities appear where once there was only silence. This is the hidden law. Nothing changes until you do. But once you change, everything must follow. The mirror cannot resist. It must reflect the new image. And in that moment, you realize the power was never outside. It was always within. If these words resonate with you, let this be your inspired action today. Subscribe to Infinity Echoes and activate the notifications. Here, we uncover the laws, the symbols, and the mysteries that awaken your power to rewrite the reflection. The world is waiting for the version of you that dares to change first.